Hi, I'm Leisha Gravinsky. This is Saskatchewan. It's a new year, and a new batch of kids' activities are about to begin, like swimming lessons. A lot of families want their kids to learn to swim. It is considered a life skill for many. But getting in is tough because spots for City of Regina lessons are limited. On registration day, Deanne Sellinger, a parent in Regina, is so ready.
So I happen to have experience from my youth of buying concert tickets. So I was organized. I was up. I have a work computer, a home computer. I've got my cell phone. At one point, I did try to get both my children into swimming classes at the same time. And that was like, you really need to be on the ball and you got to pick which class is probably the more priority to get that one first. So you got to choose which kid needs more swimming lessons than the other, which happens a lot in families with multiple children.
Deanne says the rush to get into swimming lessons and the question, did you get in, is what everyone in her circle is talking about.
So obviously, as a mom, I have like mom groups, and there was a reminder on the night before. Hey, everyone, don't forget tomorrow's swimming lessons. And then there's a group chat starting about 6:50 of who got who into which swimming classes. You know, did you get your kid into the one that we wanted to do together, or did you get your kid into your first choice, second choice? Did all of your children get into swimming lessons? I did put a Facebook post out where other people commented that they missed the date. So I guess my kids don't get swimming lessons for this term because I missed that date. And so for sure, it's something that's discussed with parents. Even my coworkers were talking about who got in, are you a weeknight? Are you a weekday? Which pool did you get into? Yep.
Deanne got her 4-year-old into lessons, but a lot of people aren't that lucky. About 900 people are on the wait list for swimming lessons with the City of Regina. The wait list for Saskatoon is about half that. It's hard to know exact numbers because people could be on the wait list for more than one class. They could be waiting to get into a time that they prefer, even if they did get into a lesson. Even still, the size of these wait lists worries Deanne. She's a triathlete who trains a lot in Saskatchewan's lakes.
I feel strongly about water safety. I swim in lakes with just a wetsuit, and I'm swimming across, and I'm doing these things because I can. And my kids, I've always taught them to swim in the lakes. But when I do go to a lake, I see so many children there, and not all of them know the safety. And that they're unmonitored lakes. These are not lakes that have lifeguards on staff. They're completely. It's just parents and kids playing in the water. And how many of those kids don't have swimming lessons? And I know that drowning is an issue, and that personal issue I care about is as an open water swimmer, I suppose, is because I do worry about those kids out in the water or adults in the water who don't know how to swim.
So, what's happened in the Queen City to create this kind of demand that outpaces what the city can offer? Shelby Rushton says the answer is simple. We've added people, but not pools. She's CEO of the Lifesaving Society's Saskatchewan branch. Hi, Shelby.
Hi, Alicia.
So what's your reaction to the wait list for swimming lessons in Regina?
Well, to be honest, I thought it was going to be a higher number because I know that there's often been a big waiting list with the City of Regina.
You thought it would be higher?
I did, but I know, isn't that funny? But 900 is still, like, that's really high. I think even 200 people is high.
So tell me a bit about what you think is behind that number.
I think the number one factor is that we don't have enough water in this city. And what I mean by that is we don't have enough swimming pool water. There's only 3 indoor facilities. Well, I guess I should also include the Northwest MCA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many user groups, and those pools are overprogrammed. And it's not that the city doesn't want to offer swimming lessons. There's just not enough room to get the programming in.
Have you seen this problem grow over the years? Has it become more and more concerning to you?
It hasn't become more concerning. It's always just been a concern. Because I know even when we're trying to book, let's say, the Lawson for our own programs that we run from our own organization, sometimes it's hard to get water time. And so I can't even imagine having to try to program for thousands of residents and try to make everyone happy. And of course, you've got to work around the school day, right? And people's work days. So there's only there's only a good time spot, like between, say, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, where you can really run lessons.
Yeah, you can't have 6-year-olds taking swimming lessons at 10 p.m.
Yeah, I don't think the teachers in school would appreciate that. And then, of course, you don't want them coming before 8 o'clock in the morning as well. That's when you get the speed swimming club, synchronized swimming, artistic swimming.
And I know you said you weren't surprised by the number of people on the wait list, but truly, like, how do you respond to that, knowing that there are hundreds of people in Regina who aren't learning to swim?
Mm-hmm. And that's the concerning part for us, right? Because as the Lifesaving Society, we feel it's our basic right to have swimming lessons, to learn to swim. We have so much water in this country and in this province. We need to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to swim.
Let me just take a minute to give you some context. Regina has a population of more than 226,000, according to the 2021 census. It has 3 city-run indoor pools: the Northwest Leisure Centre, the Sandra Schmerler Leisure Centre, and the Lawson Aquatic Centre. There are other pools. There's the YMCA in the North End that offers swimming lessons, but those aren't run by the city. You can also take lessons at the University of Regina pool. But the 900 people on this wait list, they're waiting for City of Regina lessons. Those are usually once a week and considered affordable. Saskatoon is bigger than Regina by about 40,000 people, and it has 4 city-run pools: the Shaw Centre, Lakewood, Lawson, and Harry Bailey. But Harry Bailey is currently being renovated, leaving the city with just 3 right now. It will reopen in 2026. There's also a new pool in the Brighton neighborhood that's set to be built in the next few years, and that will take Saskatoon's city pool count up to 5. We do also have a pool at the YMCA and the university too, but those are not run by the city. As for outdoor pools, Regina has 5, Saskatoon has 4. Now, pools are a bit of a political hot potato right now. There's been an intense discussion around building a new aquatic facility in Regina to replace the Lawson Aquatic Centre. But even after building that pool, Regina's pool count will remain the same, at 4. The estimated cost of rebuilding that pool is $285 million. Construction is expected to be complete in 2029. What does access to swimming lessons look like in other places in Saskatchewan? Saskatoon, for instance. What does it look like here, where I live?
I think Saskatoon's having a similar problem. I mean, for the last couple of years, Harry Bailey Aquatic Centre has been closed, so that definitely has impacted things. Fortunately, they had the Shaw Centre, which has been open for about, I'd say, 10 years now, so that did help to alleviate some of that problem. But Lakewood Civic Centre and Lawson Civic Centre, they're not the largest pools. They are bigger than the Schmerler and the Northwest Leisure Centre, however. So yeah, they're definitely getting their time in. They're crowded too.
I've had people come up to me in this city to talk about the Regina waitlist and then comparing it to Saskatoon's, because there are close to 400 people waiting for recreational programs in Saskatoon, and some of that would be swimming lessons. And not only do people point out that the Harry Bailey pool has been closed for a couple of years, we lost the YWCA pool. The future of the YMCA pool is up in the air a bit, and we're still waiting on word as to when the Brighton recreation facility with a pool will be open. And so I think you're correct that people in Saskatoon are looking at the city, a city that's growing, and are wondering if we've kept up with our pools. What do you think?
I would say you're absolutely right. We need to. It's almost too late, right? So there's just so many people now, and it would have been nice to have these facilities built a long time ago. I mean, thank God they did get the Shaw Centre going. Martinsville has a beautiful outdoor pool now, which I think has helped a little bit. I'm surprised Warman hasn't built a facility. That's such a growing community.
Why do you think there's sometimes pushback to building a new pool? Like, I'm sure you're familiar with the conversation taking place in Regina, and that's just to replace a facility, not to build an additional pool. And I know it comes down to money often, but why do you think it's such a struggle to convince people of the argument that a pool is needed?
I don't think people realize the impact that a swimming pool has on their community. So a swimming pool offers a place to get educated in swimming lessons, in fitness. It's a social hub. It's an employment hub. It's a tourist destination. It has so many great things going for it. And I know for the small towns for sure, whenever I ask them that question, they're like, yeah, like, no, we need this. And some people will say, we moved to this community because it had a pool, whereas the community down the road didn't have one. And that was the factor that made us move to this community.
What does access to swimming lessons look like in rural Saskatchewan?
It's not as bad, but there's a different factor, and that is, do they have enough swimming instructors to get the swimming lessons, to reach their capacity for getting everything done? But I think it is a lot easier for them as long as they have the staff, because they definitely have the pool.
Tell me more about the staffing issues. Is it that people aren't signing up to be lifeguards, or what's going on there?
Well, there's a lot of work involved in becoming a lifeguard. And people die at your job or they can become injured. I mean, they don't die every day, but when you work at a gas station or a grocery store, you're not expecting and you're not looking for people to get hurt. Whereas when you're working at a swimming pool, that's your job. You're looking and you're preventing people from getting injured and from dying at your facility. And so that's a lot of burden on a person's shoulders, especially when we are certifying 15 and 16-year-olds.
Is there a way to solve that, to make sure that we do have enough lifeguards in the province?
I wish I had a good answer for that. I think we just have to keep saying it is a great job. And it is. Lifeguarding and instructing is a great job.
And a lot of people would argue that learning to swim, that's such an important life skill. What are our rates of drowning in Saskatchewan? Just like, how concerned are you about people's competency in the water in this province?
Yeah. So on average, there are 24, 25 fatal drownings. So when someone actually dies from a drowning incident in Saskatchewan. But then it's not just the fatalities, it's all the injuries or the trauma that comes from someone that has survived. So maybe you had a drowning incident, but now you have brain damage. So you're alive, but you have brain damage, or you're just traumatically affected and you never want to be around water. Or, there's so many things around that. You can get pneumonia, all that kind of stuff. So it's, non-fatal and fatal, it affects people. And the amount of hospitalizations from people that have had a drowning incident, it's pretty high, actually. So 24 people doesn't sound like a lot, but I know there's lots of hospitalizations and hospital visits from drowning incidents. And I would say it's a lot higher, like hundreds.
And what might send someone to hospital? That might seem like an obvious question, but you got into trouble in the water, like that, then
For
what?
sure. Yeah, so if you have ingested water and inhaled it, you should be getting checked by a doctor, because it can do damage. Like, you can get pneumonia, you can get infections, or maybe you didn't have enough oxygen for a couple of, longer than you needed, and so it can just affect the brain that way as well. And so at a pool where there's lifeguards, whenever a lifeguard goes in the water and because kids do get too deep and we have to pull them out, and we do an assessment immediately once we get them to the deck, ask if they can take a deep breath, and then we listen, what does that sound like? Are they gasping? Are they throwing up water? Are they looking lethargic? And then based on what we're seeing and what we're observing, we'll have them go and get checked out by the doctor, because they might need x-rays on their chest to see what's going on. So
So it can be very serious.
It can be very serious.
What would you say to a parent who really wanted their child to learn to swim this session, but they didn't get in?
Well, keep trying, first of all. I mean, it's so nice to hear that there are so many people that think it's important. Like, there's 900 more people out there that think swimming lessons are important and I want my kid to learn to swim. Like, that's great, except we have to meet that need now. So I guess keep talking to council, or, if you're from one of the bedroom communities, then maybe talk to your council. Around Regina, we have only Belgoni, we would have Cupar, and then of course there's Moose Jaw as fairly close pools.
What about looking to the summer months and whether or not they could get their child into a camp that teaches lessons, or into a summer outdoor pool for a 2-week stint?
Yeah, there are definitely a lot more opportunities in the summer for swimming lessons, as long as the weather cooperates, and as long as it's what's going to meet because you have to travel, of course. So lots of the regional parks offer swimming lessons, the provincial parks.
In the lake, in lakes?
In the lakes, there are lake lessons, still lots of lake lessons, which is great. And some people just think, oh, you got to take the lake lessons, you got to be the tough one. I did it when I was a kid, and then so my kids are going to do that. You do learn a lot, right? You got to learn how to take bloodsuckers off and navigate the weeds and the waves, but you do learn to swim.
One final question. I just want to give you the opportunity to say one final time why it's important to learn to swim.
Everyone has the fundamental right to learn to swim, in my opinion. We have so much water, you never know when you're going to end up in it. So it's the unexpected falls into water that primarily is what's causing drowning incidents. Or being in a boat and not wearing your life jacket, capsizing, and then you don't have those skills to keep your head above the water. That's what we need. We need to learn to keep our head above the water, and we need those swimming pools to be open to offer those lessons so we can do that.
Shelby, so good to talk to you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelby Rushton is CEO of the Lifesaving Society's Saskatchewan branch. The City of Regina says it is aware that demand exceeds the number of lessons the city can offer. It says it has to accommodate several needs like aquasize, diving, swim clubs, and more, which can make it difficult to fit in all the swimming lessons too. Now remember Deanne, the triathlete? She says the solution is to build another pool to accommodate the needs of a growing city. And the Saskatchewan branch of the Lifesaving Society agrees. But with tight city budgets and a heated debate about the replacement of the Lawson Aquatic Centre, an additional pool seems very unlikely. What's it like accessing swimming lessons where you live in Saskatchewan? We would love to hear from you. Our email address is thisisk@cbc.ca. I also wanted to let you know that my colleague Phil Tank has done some really excellent reporting on the state of outdoor pools in Regina and Saskatoon. Let's just say it's not great. Many need to be updated or replaced, and replacing outdoor pools is expensive. So what will cities do? Phil's story is well worth a read. I put the link to it in the description of this episode, so it's easy for you to find. I'm Leisha Grabinski. Thanks to Laura Sharpaletti for her help on this episode. We are back Friday with a look at politics in this province. And so until then, take care.